I knew something was wrong the moment she looked at me and said, "I'm single today." Not joking. Not laughing. Just a smirk, sharp, dismissive, like she was flicking our relationship off her shoulder. And all I could think was, she planned this. My girlfriend, Alina, had been pulling away for weeks, but that line. It felt like someone pressed a cold thumb into the center of my chest. We were already at her friend Sana's birthday dinner when she said it, in front of everyone, loud enough for the table to hear. A couple of her friends exchanged glances. One even winced. But Alina? She just took a sip of her drink and turned her back to me as easily as you turn a page. The room felt smaller after that. Conversations sounded blurry. My own heartbeat felt louder than the music. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was embarrassed. Humiliated in a room full of her friends, people I barely knew. And the worst part? She didn't even look at me again. Not once. She kept laughing with her coworker, the one she'd recently described as funny in a dumb way. Funny how those dumb jokes suddenly had her leaning in, hair falling over her shoulders in a way I used to think was just for me. I kept replaying her words. "I'm single today." Why today? Why say it like that? Why here, in front of me? Then it hit me, she wanted me to react. To get jealous. To cause a scene. But I didn't. I just sat there, my hands shaking under the table. That's when Sophia, one of her quieter friends, leaned toward me and whispered, "Ignore her. She's been weird lately." Weird. I knew what that meant. Still, hearing it from someone else made the denial crack. The night dragged on, and at some point, Alina switched places at the table so she wasn't beside me anymore. No explanation. No glance. I watched her flirt openly, laughing too loudly, touching her hair, touching his arm. People noticed. They weren't subtle. Once Sana shot me a look that almost felt apologetic. I excused myself and stepped outside to breathe. The air was cold, sharp enough to sting my lungs. I leaned against the wall and wondered how we even got here. How the same woman who once couldn't go an hour without texting me could now pretend I didn't exist. Maybe I missed the signs. Maybe I ignored them. Maybe I wanted too badly to believe she still loved me. When I walked back in, something had shifted. Alina was still ignoring me. But her friends weren't. Sophia waved me over to their side of the room. "Come sit with us," she said softly. Felt genuine, not pitying. Others joined in, inviting me into conversations, asking me questions, giving me real attention instead of pretending I wasn't there. Felt grounding. Like someone put a hand on my shoulder while I was drowning. I didn't flirt. I wasn't even thinking about revenge. I was just trying to stay upright. But the more her friends talked to me, the more present I felt. The more I remembered I was a person, not some background decoration to her ego. And Alina noticed. She kept glancing over, her expression tightening every time she saw me laugh with them. Her smirk was gone. Her confidence cracked. She was losing the spotlight she expected me to sit quietly beneath. The irony? For the first time that night I felt seen. When the group decided to go to a lounge afterward, I expected Alina to make some show of ownership, grab my hand, pull me back in, something. Instead, she said loudly, "He can do whatever he wants. I told you, I'm single today." Then she went straight to the coworker, practically glued herself to his side. Fine. If she was single, then so was I. But fate didn't twist the knife the way she planned. Not at all. Because when we arrived at the lounge, it wasn't the coworker she sat with. It was no one. No one wanted to sit with her. Not after what they'd witnessed. Her friends, her own circle, chose me. Sophia sat beside me, then Sana, then two others. They laughed with me, talked to me, asked about my life. They didn't exclude her, they just didn't include her. And she hated it. She kept glaring across the room, tapping her nails against her glass, waiting for the coworker to make a move. He didn't. He drifted away, bored or uncomfortable. I couldn't tell. By midnight, she was alone at the corner table, scrolling her phone like someone trying desperately to look unbothered. Meanwhile, I was surrounded by the same people she thought she controlled with her cold confidence. For once, I didn't feel small. At one point, Sophia leaned in and said, "You deserve better than tonight." There was no flirtation in it. Just truth. Quiet, heavy truth. I swallowed hard, fighting the sudden tightness in my chest. "I don't know what I did wrong." "You didn't do anything wrong," she said. "She's been looking for attention." any attention. It hurt. But hearing it from someone inside her world felt like confirmation of something I'd been afraid to admit. At 1 a.m., people started leaving. Rides were being booked. Goodbyes were being exchanged. And Alina finally walked over to me. "You done?" she asked, arms crossed. "Done with what?" I said. "Whatever that was," she snapped, gesturing at her friends. "You looked desperate." Desperate. She really said that. I met her eyes, really met them for the first time all night. "Funny," I said quietly. "That's what they said about you." Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. For once, she didn't have a smirk. We rode home in silence. She waited for me to break first. To ask what was wrong. To chase. To soothe. But I'd spent the night learning something important. Sometimes the best revenge is simply not participating. When we reached the apartment, she whispered, "So what now?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "But I think you made your choice when you said you were single today." She flinched. "I didn't mean it like." "Yes," I cut in. "You did." Her eyes brimmed but didn't spill. She wasn't crying, she was panicking. Because for the first time she realized she'd pushed me too far. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed a backpack and started throwing in the essentials. I didn't yell. Didn't accuse. Didn't beg. Her voice cracked. "You're leaving." "Yeah," I said softly. "Tonight." "You got exactly what you asked for." She reached for my arm but I stepped back. "You wanted to be single," I said. "So be single." And then I walked out. Not with anger. Not with revenge. Just with clarity, the kind that hurts but heals. The kind that comes when someone shows you who they truly are. The kind that finally lets you let go.